Yeah, so we're going to move on to the next piece on the album. This is by Daniel Zlatkin. This is called Out of Bodies. Um, yeah, so let's get Daniel on here.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
Great.
Again, I mean, everybody's going to say it, but you guys are the best. I miss everybody. If we were in the pre-pandemic times, I wish I could have a multicellular hug with them.
Yeah, we miss everyone too. It's definitely weird having to do this all virtually because we were planning to do something in person, but alas, here we are. So yeah, it's great to have you. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to talk a little bit about Daniel Zlatkin's Out of Bodies. If I remember correctly, this actually had a different title when we premiered it, didn't it?
Yes, it had a working title, which was Emerge 3.
Yeah. So what kind of inspired the name Out of Bodies?
Well, as a composer, I love nature and I love reading about unusual things. I'm a big horror movie fan. I love to look for the unexpected things in nature. And I remember when I wrote this piece, there were two movies that came out, or there was a movie that came out that had a lot to do with that called Annihilation, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's about a bunch of female scientists who go into this ecological disaster zone, and all the DNA is getting like mixed up. So like people are turning into trees, and like alligators are getting mixed up with sharks, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And things are bursting out of other things. And I just love that idea. And the Reed Quintet is such a diverse ensemble where you can have, woodwinds are already, this in a good way. They can be pretty wacky, have unusual sounds. It's just the ensemble lends itself so well to just one unexpected voice bursting out of the other.
Yeah, well, this piece is definitely unlike all of the others on the album for sure. It definitely stands out as what you just described, and I think that's why we like it so much. So yeah, before we continue, Daniel, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and just some stuff about you and yeah.
Sure. Well, I am a composer, obviously, and I'm a cellist. And I'm based in Houston, Texas right now. I'm in a doctoral program at Rice University. And I would say with my music, I aim to tell a story. I love to stretch reality and really be as expressive as I can. And also, especially more recently, I'm really looking for ways to connect with all sorts of different audiences in non-traditional ways. So I would say that's what I'm mainly about as a composer.
Yeah, one of the things I love to say about your piece Out of Bodies is that, I think it has simultaneously and sometimes concurrently the most beautiful writing on the whole album in terms of like really emotional, gorgeous, chordal type of writing happening at the same time as some of the most out there, crazy, wacky music in this entire album. And so I think we're going to go to a clip right now from the third movement of Out of Bodies. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how that plays into this your compositional style and this piece specifically as well. So here is a clip from the third movement of Daniel Zlatkin's Out of Bodies. Yeah, I think really just both ends of the spectrum at the same time, which is, I know something you love doing, Daniel. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, one of my favorite composition teacher quotes of all time is the idea of throwing a wrench into a musical structure. And this came from Michael Dougherty, who was my mentor at Michigan, who in turn, I believe, heard it from the great Ligeti, who had said that a good composer builds a system, but a great composer not only masters that system, but knows how to subvert it effectively. That is, throw a wrench in it. And I really just love this strategy. If there's one golden thing to always hold on to, I think that it's this, because I think that it's a compositional strategy which encourages surprise and color and variety, and it's something that encourages a composer to be honest and get out of their comfort zone and always be looking for ways to evolve their material. And I recognize that this shouldn't be a universal philosophy for composition, because of course it can sometimes be extremely beautiful for just a piece to do one particular thing extremely well. But definitely for me, Out of Bodies was a conscious effort to explore throwing wrenches, which was something that was really especially on my mind when first writing this piece.
Yeah, and I like every time everyone needs to go listen to this. We're not going to share it right now, but the beginning of the second movement is some of the most beautiful chorale writing that I've ever played, honestly, in my entire life. And it's so interesting and so different, but beautiful and simple at the same time. And of course, Daniel throws his wrench into it after
Which
the fact.
is me in this case.
Yes. But it's gorgeous. And it's so interesting to me to have a piece like this on the album, because, it's not what you're always used to playing. And, after we play this piece, people come up to us and was like, that was actually really cool, and it's definitely go listen to that beginning of that second movement. It'll melt your heart.
Thank you guys. I'm touched. I really, you got given me the warm fuzzies over in the department.
Yep.
I'd also like to share some interesting things about this piece from the recording process, and that's that there are two passages, one from the third movement and one from the second movement, that took us the most takes to get right. And one of them is not your fault. One of them is a lick that in Sean's part in the third movement, which totally understandable. But the even funnier one, which took us longer to get, was these 3 quarter notes in the second movements, just going but. I think we have over 40 takes of it, and there's there was one mark where Dave just had us rolling and just told us to keep going until we got it. And
it was so frustrating because we've been able to play quarter notes since we were in 5th grade. And for some reason, I don't know what it was about it. We could play all this hard stuff, but lining up those quarter notes, we must have been tired or something. I don't know. But it was a fun time recording this one for sure. It was the first thing we actually recorded, I believe, on day 1, wasn't it?
I think so. I don't recall, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was. So we were a little nervous, and maybe that was it too. But
okay, well, I think it's time to now move on to the next person. So thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us today, and thank you so much for your piece as well.
Thank you, guys. This was just such a warm memory for me. Thank you all so much.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
So we're gonna move.